Oh, I'm grateful.
Everybody needs a bone thrown to them once in a while, so why not? So, how was your week?
It's been good. I got to see my niece yesterday. So it was her fifth birthday.
Oh, nice. Happy belated first birthday to your niece.
And she told me that her birthday is the same day as Earth's birthday. And I was like, right on. That's right. It's special. So yeah, so that was great. It was definitely fueling and always so amazing to get to experience the world through a 5-year-old's lens. Forever
Yeah,
magical.
yeah.
How's your week been?
Um, Disorienting is the word I would use. And the reason for that is because my husband went back to work yesterday. It was his first day back to work. And I gotta figure out my schedule again because I just got comfortable, just got used to it. Then he got used to everything. We were all in the groove, doing our things. And then he goes back to work. So now I gotta figure everything out once again. Um, Back to waking up at 4:59. But my husband, like yesterday when the alarm went off, and then he woke up with it apparently too. And then all day he kept reminding me, turn that damn alarm off. I don't want to wake up that early. If you want to wake up that early, you wake up that early. I don't want to wake up that early. I'm like, okay, well, how am I supposed to wake up without it? And then I remembered that I have an alarm on my step counter.
Ah,
It vibrates. So I'm like, okay, I'll try that, make sure it works. And I set it, and it worked. It woke me up. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't really want to get out of bed today, but the key is no hesitation. So even though I didn't want to wake up, didn't want to open my eyes, I said, okay, fine. If I don't want to open my eyes, I'm just gonna walk out this room with my eyes closed. It didn't happen because I had to open my eyes. Otherwise, I would have tripped over the bed. I would have tripped over the vacuum cleaner. I would have tripped over one of my shoes.
I mean, creative negotiation with yourself, though.
Yeah, don't want to get up? Fine. Don't open your eyes. Just go. Because it was like one of those, I don't want to open my eyes. I don't want to get up, right? So the eye, not opening the eyes came first.
Mhm.
So I'm okay, fine. I'm not going to open them. But I sleep with like the body pillow in the end. So I just picturing myself again doing it. If somebody was like recording or watching me, they would probably like pissing their pants laughing because it's like I roll over the pillow and then the floor is right there. It's like get on the floor. I had to open the eyes. So yeah, that's
When you pointed to your step counter, it reminded me of your post on Insta, or it was either Insta or Facebook, but it was 11:11, like your number
yeah.
of steps, and it brought up, like, it got me thinking, like, when did I start paying attention to numbers? Because now it feels like such second nature. And like, I know you and I have had so many Zooms where we look at the time and just know, like, there have been times where we've had different phases with numbers. Like at one point, I feel like we were both seeing 1234 a lot. And
Yeah, I was just gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4. I
yeah,
got that one a lot, and 11, 11 or 1, 11.
yeah. Do you remember when you first started paying attention to number patterns?
Uh, Honestly, I think I've always been fascinated by numbers, but I never really paid attention to them. And I guess that's partially why I wanted to work at the bank because I was working with numbers all the time. And before, like when I was working in the bank, um, I think all of us have OCD to a certain point. My OCD was I needed to have an even balance in my bank account. So if it wasn't an even balance, I would transfer that money to another account that was okay to be whatever I wanted to be. And then I think I started paying attention to the numbers. I would say almost 4 years ago now. It was when my dog passed away on my birthday, on my 30th birthday. I think that's when I really, really started paying attention to numbers because I was like 30. It's a milestone. I just realized I haven't even looked at what that means. Number 30. So that's a milestone. There's a gift in there. So number, gift, and then I started, actually even before that, I started making connections between numbers. Me and my dad have the same birthday, number 5, May 5th, and number 5 is my favorite number. Not because it's my birthday, but because it's just my favorite number, and I don't know why. Because it's in the middle, I guess. And then my this house that we got was on my daughter's 6th birthday, and I remember before she was turning 6, and even before we got the house, I didn't like number 6. It made me really nervous, and it scared me for some reason. And then we were moving into the house. I kind of realized maybe that's the reason why, because this was a huge change in our life, because we went from one house to this one, which was double everything, double the size, double the land, double the property, double the property taxes, double the bills, double everything, right? But not double the paycheck. So I guess that's another kind of number coincidence or synchronicity.
That's what I was saying. Like,
That's why I said coincidence.
you've always paid attention to numbers on a subconscious level, and then it was more recently, like the past 4 years or so, where you started acknowledging the synchronicity in them.
Yeah, when I started paying even more attention.
Yeah, that's about the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this line. Have you seen the movie? I doubt it, because I think it's more for Boston fans, but have you seen the movie Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore?
I think I have. It sounds very familiar.
There's this part in it where Jimmy Fallon brings his math class, his students, to visit her at her job, and she's like, do any of you ever, like, what'd she say, like, rearrange numbers to make more interesting patterns? And this kid in Jimmy Fallon's class is like, she knows my secret shame. And I remember seeing that and being like, mine too, actually. And then so I was aware that I was always noticing numbers and wanting to create patterns out of them. And then around 2016 was when I like noticed that I kept looking at the clock twice a day at 11:11, and I didn't look into it. That was also a point in my life where, due to the study of energy leadership, I was expanding to level 5, which is where you do start noticing synchronicities, and because that's a sign of leadership, is paying attention to those, being aware of those synchronicities. And so I became aware and was like, I'm seeing 11:11 twice a day, and instead of looking into it or researching it, I just intuitively was like, okay, maybe that's my Nana just being like, yo, what up, I'm here. And it's my job to like take a second out of my day when I see 11:11 and be like, yo, what up, Nana, I see you. Like, that's cool. I'm open for it. I'm here for it. And then very shortly after that, my expansion accelerated.
Mm-hmm.
And now after that long, it kind of feels like I don't remember the time before. And it's not, after that, it's not just numbers, it's everything. It's everything we see is speaking to us. So, like, every synchronicity, like everything. So I was just like, when I saw your post and saw the 1111, the number pattern, I was like, that I like, don't remember what it was like before we were all, because also our vibe attracts our tribe. So surrounded by others, socially at least, who also recognize patterns. And I just was thinking about that. Like, what was life like before I was like, this is a signal for me to follow?
Hmm. I don't even know what was like life like before. I remember even when I was a little kid thinking how weird it was that me and my dad and I were born May 5th. I was born on his birthday. So that's two fives.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom was born December 7th, and my sister, 6 months later, was born, well, not exactly 6 months later, but you know what I mean, within that year. June 7th, she was born. So two sevens and two fives in our family. And then, so I thought that was really, really odd. And I always kind of like started paying attention to numbers even then, but it was more so like numbers that were close. And for for me, number like 1111 or number one when I see it, I always thought it was kind of like a reminder for me. I am on the right path. I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I started adding, don't hold on to things, don't punish yourself, don't feel bad for not finishing something or not completing something or not having the time to do it all in one day because you've created a huge list for yourself. And then I heard, I was in one of these conscious experiment webinar with Bruce D. Schneider, and he said that he says that, was it on the conscious? No, I think it was on the regular webinar. It was in the school webinar because he didn't say anything about that. But one of the teachers said that Bruce says that when he sees 1111 to him, he says it means, and you know, he's been through like lucid dreaming and all of that, and he has his own path, and he's like woke, as people would call it. So his understanding of those numbers is, I am the one I am. So when I heard that, I was like, yes, I am. I was crying, thank God nobody could see me. But even then, if they saw me, I wouldn't be ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my tears. I was given them for a reason. And I believe that it's important to shed my tears and let them flow when they feel like they need to flow and
Yeah,
not stop them because there is a need for it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I cried yesterday. It felt great. Like good 2 minute cry, and then I rallied. It just had to move, like it just moves energy. Like
Yeah.
I shared this on Instagram yesterday, but I have also found that the duration for which I'm crying depends on the intensity of the catalyst that made me cry, or
Mm-hmm.
how many times I've cycled through the theme. So yesterday it was a quick cry for Mother Earth because I heard a new Nako song, and he was singing about bees going extinct, and I just was just like, all right, I just need a minute, and it had like a 2 minute sob, and then I was like, all right, I'm back, and it's just such a potent way of feeling what's important to us,
Mm-hmm.
like really feeling it.
Someone sent me a video yesterday, and I ended up watching a couple of videos. And I know some people send me like long ass videos, and I don't have time to watch those unless it's educational. So when it comes to conspiracies and those type of videos, I will watch them, but within reason. When they're like 50 minutes long or when they're 3 hours long, I don't have that time in a day to watch a conspiracy theory unless I was living that life. And I'm
Mhm.
not, just a little bit. And the
Do
video I was watching,
you get a lot of that? Like a lot of people sending you conspiracy videos?
yeah,
Same.
yeah.
I respect
And
it. It's just not, yeah.
I mean, some of them I like, I'll watch because I just find myself clicking and watching it. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to watch it. Great. What am I going to do now? Right. But this one was about 5G towers.
Yeah, I get a lot.
And that everywhere that they have gone up, the bees have disappeared.
Mhm.
And they're going up everywhere. And it started in China. I don't keep track of names of all of that stuff. Whatever, this was the ground zero, right? Wherever the ground zero was for this COVID-19, that's where they had put up the towers and turned them on.
Mhm.
And then it was Milan, and then somewhere in Europe, and now they're doing it here. And it was a guy who was actually, he was putting up the towers, and then he knew how dangerous they are, and he just consciously could not do it anymore. So he quit the job, and he said he was like saying that he took a $60,000 pay cut to leave, but he just could not consciously do it anymore because he did not want to cause harm to his fellow humans. So I thought, what if now he gets sick and dies from COVID-19? Because when people start to speak out and say things or come out and say, well, I was doing it and then I knew how harmful it was and I was still doing it and then I realized I really don't want to do it and I quit. Technically, I know some companies can sue them for that too. So for him to go out and still speak out and say what he wanted to say, knowing that he can be receiving harm in one way or another,
Mhm.
I thought, I'm like, wow, like nobody's gonna go on there and lie
Exactly.
and say they did something when they didn't. Um, so I thought that was really interesting. And then when you mentioned bees, that's where to me it's like 5G towers. And
Yeah.
then there was somebody, I can't remember who, I want to say Nostradamus, but I'm not sure if that was him, that predicted that once the bees are gone, the earth will not be doing so well. The human race will not be doing so well. And we're so close to it.
Yeah. We're looking into the doomsday portal. We can see into it. We're that close to it. And then it's
Yeah.
conversations like this that are gonna turn us around and bring us back. Just enough people who love this planet enough and love humanity enough to allow our intuition to guide us
Mm-hmm.
and to be gentle about it. Like my exploration into 5G research actually began with someone sending me a video of bees dropping like raindrops around a 5G tower, and I was like, damn, like so I did my own research, but it was gentle enough for me to do my own research and hear what my intuition is saying. If my intuition is like, all right, this is legit, or you know, I don't know, or further research needs to be done. And so I feel like all truth is revealed in time, and exactly what you're saying about, someone's not going to speak up, someone's not going to put their life and their livelihood in jeopardy if they weren't truly speaking for what they believe in, and speaking from this like warrior spirit that
Mm-hmm.
knows, like, I didn't come here to make it out alive. I came here to be a champion for humanity and a guardian of the earth. And like I need to use my voice to create the biggest impact I can in the direction of truth and justice and peace. So that's when, like, hearing the way that you noticed that dude's integrity in speaking the truth, and that he knows, like, the fear of persecution for anyone speaking the truth is real.
Yeah.
Is hot at the throat. And so I think that's part of why you're able to connect so much with the like paradox he has himself in, of seeing into the system, knowing the truth, but then also perhaps jeopardizing his life. I think every empath warrior feels that, and that's
Yeah.
why you're able to watch him speak and be like, okay, I can get down with this guy.
And that's why I guess I also clicked on that by accident when I opened the message, and I was gonna like just move and scroll, and it just clicks and opens. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to watch it. So I sat down and watched it to the end, and the whole entire time, it's like I could feel his energy, almost like his concern, his fear, and his discomfort for coming out and apologizing to everyone and saying, I'm sorry, that I'm sorry that I was putting them up, right? And that itself is not an easy thing to do. And he had, like, I think 13,000 followers or something like that. So going on in front of his followers, and then all the other people that would watch it, and saying that he was sorry for doing what he did. He basically kind of, like, in a way admitted that he wasn't man enough to stop earlier and before and prevent it, because he can't really prevent it from happening. But then there was another video that I think I actually sent you. It was a woman talking and saying basically, like, what the hell are all these people doing? Freaking out and following what we're being told to do, because all of our rights have been taken away from us. And we're saying, okay, well, what do you want us to do next? Jump out the window? Okay, is that what's gonna keep us safe? And that's like how she was talking. And I thought, yes, like, and I already thought this before, because you and I had these couple of conversations where the sheep is being herded, and the sheep doesn't even know that they're being herded into the pen, right? Or that they're being herded off the hill. Because they're not aware. And those people that are already anxious and stressed and depressed and sad, or have, I can't remember what the disease is called, but when they're scared of dying and scared of getting sick, right? How are those people doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can just see them, like, my brain goes to the extreme sometimes, but you know those blow up balloons, bubbles that you can walk inside? You can even use those balloons, and you can walk on water with those balloons.
I think.
Like
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Getting inside one of those big balloons and getting around places like that, nice and safe inside your little your big ball of safety. Yeah, I honestly, it's a very, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
There is. As you're speaking, I kept just perceiving it through different dimensional portals, like the fear and control and just like conflict and chaos on the 3D. And then in the 4D, it's like the battle between good and evil, and that's where I think a lot of the initiation and doing the research, like being exposed to the conspiracy theories and deciding for oneself how they feel. A lot of that's going on, and the anger that arises from truth revelation is going on in the 4D, and which is great. That's, you know, igniting that we didn't come here to make it out alive warrior spirit. It's like, I'm going to make a difference. And then the 5D, where is it feels like none of that really matters because we're already building the new world where there's no such thing as control. There's no such thing as us versus them. It's just abundance and peace and harmony. So all that makes everything else irrelevant. And it's just, there's no linear, it's so weird because there's no linear path. It's just different levels of expansion and contraction. And and it's like it's a choice. Like, what do you want to focus on? Like, so when it comes to 5G, for example, because we spend so much time saying to ourselves, what's the opportunity here? What's the opportunity here? Like, that's the level 5 access code. And so Noah,
shh. I need you to go on Roblox. Mila's playing upstairs. They're playing Roblox, and he's playing in the living room, and they're playing together, right? So once in a while, he'll come and he'll scream and tell him, Mila, don't do that. Mila, don't kill me in this, right? Because we're playing like Piggy, and the piggy's supposed to walk around. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the game Grandma or something like Granny. I want to call it Grandma. It's called Granny, but Granny walks around, looks for this little boy that's trying to get out of the house. And then if she catches him, she hits him with a bat. Like, I mean, Granny's supposed to be nice and sweet and gentle, but this one, I mean, this is the games that the kids like to play. Yeah. And this is where I, as a parent, as much as I would love to control them and put them in their own pens, right, in their own fenced areas, this is for you, this is for you. You only do what I tell you to do. You only do how I tell you to do it. You only eat what I tell you to eat, and like total control. Because I feel like this is kind of what's happening in a way now. Because if they don't want certain businesses to survive, guess what? They're not going to survive. If they don't want certain products being in stores or certain certain countries contributing to our stores, they're going to find a way to do that. Anyways,
our businesses are going to survive. We're going to watch out for our homies. It's like, your business will survive if you have a tribe.
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to say as well. From that video, from that lady, she was talking about businesses going out of business because they simply can't, they're not allowed to stay open. They can't afford to not stay open. They're never going to recover from this unless we do something about it, unless we all speak up and say, like, we're not doing it. We're not staying in our homes no more. We need to go back to a real life, because if this goes up until the whole entire summer and then school, that, how much damage is that going to do? Because my husband went back to work. He works per hour, right? So he gets paid per job, but let's say like it's per job, and then how long the job will take. He'll get paid for those hours, the amount of work that is involved. And now, so basically he can make as much as he wants to, right? But he obviously needs to work a lot more and harder and faster. But now they put a cap on how much he can make. So if he's reached that, he can make no more. And again, that just about covers the bills and gives a little bit for living, right? But what about the rest of the stuff? And this is something that everyone is dealing with, because the government is giving money. The government is giving money that can barely cover the bills. It's not enough, right? Or it covers half of it, and the rest you got to figure out, which means people are not making anything and they're spending more, like double the amount. They're going to come out of it with double the amount of debt they had before going into it, right? Because the government can't give them as much as they make, which I personally think they should. And I know a lot of people would agree that if people were forced to stay home, that their income should be entirely replaced until it's over.
I mean, it's no different than indentured servitude. It's still just keeping it. See, this is where I return to the what's the opportunity here.
Mm-hmm.
Still keeping people reliant on the government. And I think at this point, we have learned we can't trust the government. The government does not have, I mean, some do.
But not everyone.
Like,
A lot of
some
people
do.
still trust them, yeah.
I mean, like there are still some trustworthy government officials and elected candidates. Like I do have a lot of respect for some, but overall, we've relied on the government this whole time. Like we've this entire time that the patriarchy's been operating, and it's led us here. So here's where I see the opportunity in it is just let's figure out like we have virtual connection, we have crowdfunding, we have online marketplaces, we have social media, we have our tribes and our homies, and we can figure it out, even if it means scrapping everything we once knew and restarting from a completely new idea.
Yeah.
And that's just where I prefer to stay. That's why I appreciate the information. But the like I've done deep dives, like when I was like in my soul excavation, in my cocoon, I was in the conspiracy world, and it didn't I did not achieve many results other than understanding my own intuition.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I would say that I'm doing, because I stay out of it. And I've always been curious. And I didn't even realize, but I always listened to my intuition. And my intuition had always told me, this is true or this is not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And now I'm getting to practice it even more so. And I avoid it at all costs. But like I said, it just pops in front of my face.
It's just like I feel like my whole life has been like being Fox Mulder on the X-Files trying to prove shit, and it hasn't resulted in anything other than realizing all the times I silence my intuition and what I can do about that now. So very valuable experience. But now, like what is required now, the shifts that humanity is going to have to make, the leaps and jumps that's going to be required of all of us as a whole now are so massive.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's going to be a complete reversal of everything we thought we knew. So in order to build that new, like I consider it my job. Like I'm telling you, like the dreams I've been having, Yana, they're just like geometrical like patterns and math problems, and like when I stand in and I think Wim Hof breathing has a lot to do with everything that I'm seeing lately. I was standing in the shower the other day or yesterday and like had my eyes closed, and I was like looking at the leading edge of consciousness as a grid, and I was like, well, it's my job to keep taking these steps. So in order to keep taking those steps for me personally, all the conspiracy like videos and information that'd be and like no offense to anyone who is doing that work, like it's valuable and I respect it, but for me energetically, like as an empath who's been there and knows how, like that's not where I get my fuel. I get my fuel from the new and joy and co-creating with my creatrix sisters and like dreaming the new. Like our brains can be used in different ways, and when we figure out what fuels us and what drains us, we become masters of our own realities. And so if those deep dives into the conspiracy research causes me to stagnate at all, which I realize that it does, it doesn't propel me. It doesn't. And I don't, I've been actually searching for the words to say this for every time someone just posts these videos on like some like I'm just trying to like make some nice comment about intuition, and then like my feed gets loaded up with videos, and I'm not gonna watch them. I understand, but the coercion and force with which they're projected at me is just gonna make me have that same reaction of no, hard pass. I'm not joining you here. And I'm so respectful of the warriors out there who are doing this research and digging it up and sharing the truth in their own way. My way to share truth is very different, and I've learned that from a lifetime of being an empath, trying to deliver truth and being received with rejection and retaliation and like all sorts of dismissal and disparaging and remarks and ridicule.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not dealing with it anymore. It's not worth my energy. And but that's part of the integral vision is that understanding that everybody has a place and it's all moving in phases.
Mm-hmm.
The phase where I'm at just forward looking, just focusing on solutions, innovations, weaving the fabric of the new paradigm. And if we can create that fabric of the new paradigm, if we can present it and show something that there's this future we can believe in, this kingdom where there's enough for everyone, if we can portray that, then all of the control and powers that be that the conspiracies are about anyway will become irrelevant, because there will be this new world we can live in.
So then, how does that new world get created? Right? So my thoughts are, it's like what you were talking about is the way I see it, and I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong. It's like when a person, because I've been through that stage in my life where it's like I want to find a purpose. So I found my purpose, right? Coaching is my purpose. Being a parent is my purpose. My pets, my life, washing the dishes, all of these things are my purpose. And then it comes to a point to where you gotta decide, what do you stand for?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Find it as part of your purpose. So for you, it's elevate, right? And then there's a couple of other things in there as well. And I would imagine it's kind of the same as equality, bringing equality to the world. And this new world that you're talking about, this new life that we can all live, means that all of us would be equals, and all of us as equals would have everything that we want, which would be balanced. So like, let's say, for example, pay, because that's the first thing that a lot of people think of is how would people get paid? Everybody would get paid $1 million a year. Right? And I think if we're looking at digital money, I think it's more than possible. All you do, like we talked before, is you add a couple of more zeros. And that way, everyone can enjoy life, live, and those that want to, because there's going to be people, creatives, right? Everyone is a creative. Everyone has something that they're really good at doing. So a janitor that loves going in every single day, loves doing what he does, he's a creative, right? You and I are creatives. People that cut grass are creatives. People that clean houses, oh my God, they're creative, because if they can clean my house and under 3 hours, they are the most creative things out there, because I've tried, and the shortest amount of time it takes me to clean the house is 3 hours. 3 hours to clean my house. So my my Friday is dedicated to that, and I clean usually within 4 hours. Because 3 hours means I gotta go really, really fast, and that's usually when I have like an energy drink. um, yeah, and then I'll able to clean the house. But this new way of living, new earth. Um, what would that look like to you? Or how would you want it to look?
I have a couple answers because originally you asked how do we get there, and
Yeah.
again, I see things in a large part thanks to energy leadership. I see things in geometry and mathematical patterns, and so energy leadership gave me the permission to assign levels 6 and 7 to the like the center point of order. And like if we're talking about chaos and order, so I see the world in chaos or order or patterns, right? So how does it get built is from the center point. So in energy leadership, the highest level of consciousness, level 7, most expanded level, is the core feeling is absolute passion.
Mm-hmm.
Core thought is non-judgment, and from non-judgment, the core feeling is absolute passion, and then the result of that is creation. So that's where things are created. That's where the new world is born. And I recently saw an image that showed that EEG patterns or scans of the brain show that when the emotion of bliss results in golden ratio patterns for each of the various brain waves. So again, that's my permission. Like, okay, bliss results in nature. The highest frequencies that we can experience emotionally result in the patterns that we see all throughout nature. And another thing that gave me permission to reconcile these ideas between our emotional, like what we feel emotionally and energetically, and patterns in nature, was the Dr. Emoto water experiment, where he exposed water to different words. And when he exposed it to catabolic words, like he said, "You make me sick," to the water, and then took an image of it under a microscope, of the molecule under the microscope, and it was chaotic and grotesque. And he exposed the water to a child. Exposure to a child resulted in beautiful fractal snowflake patterns, and exposure to peace and joy resulted in beautiful fractal patterns that we see in snowflakes. So, what's up?
Just hungry. Really hungry. My head hurts.
Your food is in the toaster oven.
What toaster?
Toaster oven on the table over there. You might want to warm it up. You make them food and they don't want to. I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. Okay. I'm not hungry. You know your body better than me. You know what hunger feels like.
My food is ready.
I told you like
No, you didn't.
2 hours ago. And I believe that the kids should not be forced to eat and finish everything off their plate. A reason for that is because we're all born with knowing our body, understanding our body, and we know how much our body needs food of. 40 seconds. So our body knows how much food we need. That's why when the baby is drinking milk, it stops when it feels full, right? Now, this is where with formula, this is breastfed. Formula, it's a little bit different from what I heard. It takes more. Yes, please. So like with formula, apparently because it's heavier content than breast milk, that when the baby feels it's full, it fills them up a little bit more. Because I mean, our purpose before used to be you eat as much as you can, so you can have calories to burn. And now we're overeating on calories. We're eating more calories than we used to eat back in the day when we used to run around and run away from danger. But basically, with kids, if we start to overfeed them and tell them, finish this, eat this, and this, it throws off the balance that they already have when it comes to eating, how much food the body needs, what to eat, and how to eat, and everything, right? So we mess it up, and then we wonder why when we grow up, we have difficulty with weight and with overeating or undereating and whatnot. So I've been letting my kids, okay, there's your food, you hungry? Okay, go eat. Not, you can warm it up afterwards. Right?
That's one of the teachings that I see in the New World is intuitive eating. We're all eating intuitively. We know what our body needs. Because we've reconciled mind, body, spirit. So we're listening to our bodies.
Yeah.
It's telling us what it wants and what's going to nourish us, and we listen. So that's one of the keys. Like, so going back to like building this new earth, and so how we get there is we apply those laws of physics and sacred geometry that we have seen in our energetic presentation when we experience different feelings. So one way to get there is, so level 6 is where intuition comes alive. So each individual reconciling with their own intuition. And then, so how I picture it is we each, the highest frequency leader, most expanded frequency leader in any organization will have that fractal pattern, that ripple effect. And then the new world's created from the inside out. So then that ripple effect expands to that person's tribe. Each person increases their frequency. The first time that I really had this kind of image of the like patterns of bringing order to chaos by expanding frequency and self-actualizing was when I saw Maslow's hierarchy of needs after having been working with energy leadership for a while. And I was looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that pyramid where the physiological needs are at the bottom of the pyramid, like safety, shelter, food, water. And then at the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, and where you live up to your true potential, where you are a creator. So that aligns perfectly with level 7, because at level 7, the result of absolute passion's creation. Mm-hmm. So I picture all these level 7 leaders having this like beautiful fractaling out where the tribe can organize regeneratively, fueled by the energy created from that high of a frequency individual. And then I pictured as a whole countries like America, Canada, who have the resources to make sure that everyone's basic necessities are met first and foremost. I pictured those countries becoming their own snowflakes, their own fractal, their own sacred geometrical fractal patterns that we see in all the rest of nature, making sure everyone has their basic necessities met first and foremost, and then people can continue on to self-actualize. So that's how I see it being built. Leaders like us who are receptive to the vision, receptive to dreaming, utilizing the energy of absolute passion to build it and to focus on building it, and bringing order to the chaos, and really freeing up space. So that's why when it comes to conspiracy theories and all the information that's out there, I consider it my role to teach people how to, or inspire people to listen to their intuition and not doubt it and trust it, because then they become their own leader, create these new ripple effects. And again, so bringing us back to joy, like why I'd much rather experience joy than ruminate on things I can't change, and things that keep me up at night. I'd rather experience joy, because that's level 6, and level 6 is where intuition comes alive. So that's the kind of energy that I hope to inspire in others. And then from that place, the more of us there are, the more we can come up with an idea, look around at all our homies, and see the true human resource in everyone we're working with, and be like, and just come up with a plan. Say you want to co-create this world. We start here, and then each group of homies becomes their own center point of the fractal pattern, and it expands from that. That makes sense?
Yeah. It made me think of the pyramids.
Huh?
It made me think of the pyramids. My husband and I would watch some pyramid show on the weekend, and they were talking about how basically about the numbers, the size, the height, the width, all that, and the geometrical shapes, and how they were like moving this geometrical shape of the pyramid and saying that that's how the earth is, right? The earth just fits right in there. That there's a purpose for these pyramids, and they're still standing. People are still trying to figure out, like, how did they even make them? Who made them? Because apparently there was really big humans that put them together, but then how did they put them so close and so perfect and measured everything? And one means the golden number, and the other one is equal of pi. And I'm just like, oh my God, these like numbers and geometrical shapes. I'm like, I'm gonna have to rewatch this one because I feel like there's a lot in there. But because it's a new language to me, it will take me some time to pick it up and understand what they're saying.
I think you'll find, like, when you do start unlocking it, it's gonna, like, I think I have a feeling you know the language. Like, I have a feeling.
That's why it's like I feel like there's like this block that I just don't want to. I'm not ready. I'm not there yet, but I'm not sure when I would be. So that's why my husband puts it on. I'm like, okay, let's watch it. He likes to rewatch things sometimes, so we'll do that. But he started watching some other show. It's like a really, really weird cartoon. And the first moment I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, the people that made it were on something. There's no way they did it sober, because it's just that weird. And it's like they're going through like these battles. He's traveling the world. He puts his head in this vagina looking thing to travel the world. And then he goes into the world looking like whatever is on there. And then there's always like a fight. And during this battle scene or a fight, he's talking with someone, just having a totally normal conversation. It's like a podcast. All this war, all this battle, everything is going on everywhere. Guts being thrown everywhere. It's a cartoon, right? So it's not that. I mean, kids shouldn't watch because it's really odd. They'll be having a lot more questions than answers. But there's conversation going on, and this conversation is very deep and very spiritual. And at one point, I found it difficult to pay attention because of what was going on in the back. It was the second episode. And having a total normal conversation, I would be in the conversation and I see what happens in the background. I'm like, oh my God, like that's so messed up. Like, anyways, the reason why I'm bringing it up is I'm not even sure why I brought it up. I think it's because these messages through the things we watch, whether it is a totally weird cartoon that not everybody's gonna watch, or there's a movie you're watching, or there's something you're watching. If we watch it enough times, I have noticed I have been hearing more of like meanings in there
Mhm.
or messages in there.
You're going deeper and deeper into the universe.
And with this show, I was already like in there and I'm like, yes, yes, like this is the stuff that you and I would talk about
Exactly.
on TV, on Netflix. I'm like, oh my God, these people are geniuses. And I can only imagine what else I would hear and hear it in a different way when they speak of it, right? That I did not hear the first time I watched and listened to it. So we come across things because in the beginning we started talking about numbers and synchronicities. This is like what we see and what we are. Ethan, no. After when I'm done, you can have it
I
after.
love ginger ale.
Can I have some more water?
I don't.
Can I have it with water?
You can bring some water in a cup and then I'll put some ginger ale.
No, I want
This is with
all
water.
of it.
So it's like synchronicities with the things that we are coming across and watching, things that we find ourselves watching, or basically somebody else puts it on, or you put it on purpose or by accident, or it's like, oh, I'm curious, and you put it on. All the things that we watch, all the things that we come across, there is a reason for it. And that's why each and every one of us, we watch different things. And we learn different things through all the things we watch. And if we actually also add another synchronicity to it, if we want to figure out what do we want to do with ourselves, with our life, what is our purpose, what would happen if we just started paying attention to the things that we watch and started taking notes?
Or listen to. Like a lot of with a predominant trait of clairaudience.
Wow.
Bubbling. Yeah, he's like, it's bubbling, it's fizzing. Then no, I can't really like take the time to have a conversation and like agree on not drinking it now. But then again, allowing them, it's like how Dr. Shafali says. I listened to her a couple of times and she is a genius. If you want to learn about parenting, Dr. Shafali is brilliant when it comes to conscious parenting. She starts off with saying that children are their own sovereign beings. Do not control them. They're not yours to control. They just came through you. You were basically just a portal, and they're here for you. And they're actually your teachers as well, because everyone we meet, everyone in our life is our teacher and our student, which means our kids, our teachers. And if we want to, how did she say it? And it made me really think, like, wow, like, let them be. But she said that kids, they have like their own, I lost my train of thought, but they have their own way of thinking, they have their own way of being, they have their own interests, they have their own way of processing things. And also, so the kids, if we pay attention, what we will notice is kids are living in the moment. They're always, always, always living in the moment. How? And then the question with that would be, then how do we get to a point where we start worrying about the future or worrying about the past? It comes down to the parents. Because the parents then tell them, create worries about the future with questions, or you should be doing this. If you want to go to college, you got to do this. If you want to do that.
It starts so early on, like putting
Right.
the pressure of academic success.
Sure. But that what it does, it shifts our normal state, our normal nature, our normal way of being in the present.
Mm-hmm.
The parents create the shift in the child of making them brainwashing them into thinking and focusing about the future.
Well,
Or
we were all, we've been brainwashed for 5,000 years. So
yeah, but it
it's,
started like that long ago.
it's just been passed down. And that's why, like, this is so incredible that we're even having this conversation, to be the generation that's looking at it and evaluating it. And it's like, what the hell have we been basing success and productivity on? And we've been putting that pressure on kids, and like giving them grades in school. It's just not sitting there with them and looking deep into their souls and asking, what do you want to do? What sparks a fire in your heart and your blood? Really getting to know what drives them, because they're here with sets of tools that we don't even know what they're capable of yet. Because we're evolving as a species. So any kid being born now into this almost apocalyptic society is coming bearing gifts. Like, they are here for something. Like, they've got a big job on their plate. So if we, like, I had this conversation yesterday with my mom after we got back from visiting my brother and my niece and sister-in-law, and she was like, what are they going to do about school? Like, if there's no more school for the year, yada yada. And I was like, it's all good. Like, I was like, nothing's going to be the same after this. And my mom was like, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I was like, no, I mean, like, school. Like, we've got to rethink school altogether. It wasn't sustainable. It wasn't sustainable for the teachers. They were suffering. They weren't getting paid what they deserved for that kind of responsibility for essentially creating the future. And it wasn't sustainable for families. They weren't teaching children preparation for the future for so long. It sounds like now there's more teachings about growing food and meditating, stuff like that, but that's brand new, that's being introduced in schools.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, like, nothing is going to be the same. And this goes back to what I was saying about building a new paradigm, a new society altogether. I think it's going to be the tribe decides what the kids are going to learn and how they're going to learn it. And it's going to be, like I was saying to my mom during this conversation, I was like, it takes a village is not just a cliche. Like, it doesn't, like, cliches don't come out of nowhere. And like, that it takes a village has been around. that cliche has been around, and that's what we're gonna do now. Like, I'm watching neighbors being better neighbors, checking in on each other. Like,
you're still alive? Is that how they're checking in?
No, like, my neighbor's like, when she goes to the store, she texts my mom and asks if my mom needs anything, and like, they do that for each other. And I see, like, everyone keeps staying socially distanced and doing it in a way that that's like following the protocol, but everyone's checking in on each other. Like, I'm hearing all the conversations going on when I'm outside between neighbors, and that's where I think we're getting back to. Like, we used to all work. I don't mean like work like go to a job, but like work like as a synergistic organism within our local tribes. We didn't go out to go to work at some other tribe. Like, that to me is bonkers, that I spent so much energy. Like, when it really hit me was when my niece was born, and I couldn't go to visit right away and meet her because I had this insane portfolio due and was pulling consecutive all-nighters to get it done. And I was like, this is insane. Like, why am I spending so much energy for this organization, for this tribe, when, like, what are they giving me back? Like, just enough money to keep me happy succeeding in a path of drudgery? Like, like, keep me content because I could fill the void with all the booze and rock and roll that I could buy. And so Yeah, I think we're gonna take our power back and realize that this life of indentured servitude is ending, and we get to choose now what currency is, and it's energy. So we get to choose how we're spending our energy. And so going back to the model of, level 7 mind leading by example, creating a ripple effect, energy flow is going to be regenerative. Once if everybody's basic needs in the organization are met, everyone feels safe and secure, then they could rise to creativity. So that's how we build anew. And the kids are part of it. They're the biggest part of it. The kids and elders, and we're the bridge between the two.
Yeah. And I was before our call, I was so cold. I felt like there was something like leaving my body, and my fingers, all my hands, like my toes and my fingers were freezing. And I was wearing warm socks, and I was wearing shoes that are really fluffy and insulated, so they should be warm, but they were freezing. I was freezing, and I mean, it's like 20 degrees in the house. And then I thought, I'm going to go take a bath. So I'm sitting in the bath, and this question came to mind for me. What would happen if each child got to decide what they wanted to learn? If they decided what they wanted to do, how they wanted to spend their time, and we were just allowing it and not controlling it, what would happen? How different would the world be? How different would everything be? Because I would imagine that's how it was in the tribe time. A child was just kind of like free to run around and learn to watch different people do different things, and then decide what the child wanted to do. He wasn't born to be a hunter. He wasn't born to be washing clothes. He was born to do maybe something else. And just because his parents might have been doing those two jobs doesn't mean that he was born to do either one. He might have been born to be a shaman, and he trained himself and he learned and he became one.
So there's the freedom for the children not on the tribe, while there's also the wisdom of the elders, who are essentially teaching the medicine and nature in whatever ways that the elders teach it. So it's allowing for that freedom while also balancing it with responsibility.
Yeah. So then, for example, with my kids, because I know some parents might be like, well, what responsibility should they have? And there still needs to be a structure, right? Because everybody, even in the tribe, they have a time when the kids go to bed and have a time when the adults go to bed. It's the same thing here. You continue that. You just got to figure out, this is the bedtime. There needs to be still some rules and boundaries. So that way the child knows their, I don't want to say limitations, but that's the word that it's.
I'm hearing discipline. I think it's just.
Yeah, this is where you set the time based on the kids' clocks. So if they normally wake up at 7 o'clock, they normally would want to go to bed by 9. So they are free to do what they want, right? But also within reason. Like they should be very familiar with their body and their body clock and how much they need to sleep and naturally wake up. Right.
And again, like depending on what the duties of that child, like what they take on, like maybe they want to get up, like maybe they admire the farmers who get up with the sun and they want to get up with the sun, and maybe they admire like the mystic women in the tribe who get up and dance and do yoga and move and groove for a little while, and that's where they're feeling called, and like that's where it becomes the responsibility of the elders of the tribe to also lead by example and be like, these are the options, and like we can detect what's going to evolve humanity forward, such as growing our own food and healing.
Yeah, showing the possibilities. Show people the possibilities, show children the possibilities, because they already know everything is possible until we started telling them it's not. So show the children what the possibilities are by setting an example, by living your true life, by being your true self, And those children, when they wake up, they will notice all these things around them, and they will get to decide and choose what they want to do and who they will become. Not the parents deciding who they kids should become. And it's like leading, like the leading question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think any of our parents were, because not that long ago, our parents were just focused on survival. It's a big leap from survival to self-actualization. And so I think now, whereas our parents focus was different, now we can focus on humanity and the greater good, which is luxury. Like now I can live my life as in reverence to Mother Earth, honoring nature, studying nature, and offering myself however I can in service to humanity and others. That
is easy to do.
Huh?
Was it always easy to do for you to offer yourself up?
No, it took it. I was at.
But what I'm saying is that if we allowed all children to do that from the beginning, they wouldn't go through that.
That's what I'm saying. It is a luxury. Like for me to do that now, I'm understanding is a luxury, because before I was operating from the previous mindset conditioned into my psyche that was based on scarcity and survival. I was fine. I didn't know I was fine. Like I was still living the life of luxury. I didn't know it though, because my mindset was keeping me in that indentured servitude, giving my power away, being treated however they wanted to treat me at a company, and me saying yes please, like feed me, like dangling the carrot and being like, I'll do anything with that carrot. And so that's why it's a luxury. For like, we have internet, like we're in a very different place than previous generations, and I don't think my parents knew that they could stop, evaluate, and like they were okay too. They were safe. Previous generations of my family maybe not, but my parents were safe. But because the previous generations were not, I don't think that they were taught that, okay, with this safety you can create, you can build something new. The scarcity and lack mentality was passed down hardcore. It's passed down to me. And so that's why it's just is being able to say, I'm going to take all this safety and security and abundance I see, and like I just can fill my glass with water anytime I want, and go into the fridge and eat food anytime I want. That's the life of luxury. And so I'm going to take that now and live in service to humanity and the greater good, and with total reverence in my heart for Mother Earth. And that will guide me, and has been guiding me, and is as like really as simple as that. Like once that's so ingrained into the consciousness that this is what I can do with this privilege, my decisions become clear. They just illuminate. I have to take the step first, and then the path will illuminate, but they always do. It always does.
Yeah. I think a lot of things that it's like our bodies tell us what we need to overcome, what we need to do, what we need to have in our life. And quite often for me, it has shown through feeling of fear or anxiety when something happens. And I've noticed it shows like that because that's something that as a child it never scared me, and now all of a sudden it does. And why is that? It's almost like curiosity. When as a child you get curious, you feel excitement. Okay, now when you get curious, depending, because already you jump to the future of what it would feel like without realizing when you have that. And that's how you kind of see if that goal is strong enough goal to have, or a dream, right? So because that happens, we feel that fear, and a lot of people stop and give up. And that's why so many people don't chase their dreams, because once they're grown up and they learn what fear was, because we're not born fearful. I mean, it's helpful to learn some things to be feared full for, but nowadays, no. But because they became fearful of that excitement, thinking that it was fear, even though it was excitement, to go after that big dream of theirs, they didn't.
It's scary. Absolute passion is scary. It freaks me out on daily. Like that's what they're like, that excitement, because it leads toward creation. Like going back to level 7 and just being. And that's what a kid is just being themselves. And when they get that drive, that bolt of absolute passion, the next step is to act on it, create whatever was driving it. And it's scary. And as we become adults, it becomes scarier and scarier depending on what it is we're being called to create. And I think at this point, because what we're being called to create is so different, there's more potential for self-doubt. There's really a self-doubt that brings us back down. It's like we expand to level 7, have that intuitive genius, that like spontaneity of innovation and solution, and we have that feeling of like, I want to tell the tribe, I want to tell the people, I want to get this out there. And then the self-doubt starts, like, is it really like that cool though? Are people gonna like dig it? I don't know. Every time, then the assumption, because it happened, because in the past people were like, that sounds crazy, they're gonna say it sounds crazy again. And because in the past I've been called too idealistic, I'm gonna be called too idealistic again. I don't really know if I want to deal with that, or do I even want to commit to this big of a responsibility? So like all those start.
All learned. It's all learned based on everyone else's fears. In other words, they were never ours.
Right.
But they were given to us by other people. It was a gift that turned out to be a curse. And then we realized, oh, it's not a curse, it's actually a gift. Now, how do I use that gift? How do I push through that fear?
And it's kept us safe.
Yes, but a lot of people, like, they're too scared to push through the fear, or it's like, and they don't do it, but what they don't realize is that if they took a moment to work through how life would be if they did that big scary thing, and how life would be if they didn't do that big scary thing, and which one would they rather have? Right? Everything. So when you're faced that fear, look at it as, I think, yeah, my husband called my daughter because I didn't answer. So anyways, where was I? I forgot.
Looking at it, weighing the two options, like either I take the leap of faith and like who knows what'll happen, it's just jumping into the unknown, or I stay with the familiar, repeat the same patterns over and over, and that's good enough. Yeah, that's what I was feeling from the.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, right? And then like looking at the one that what would happen if you did go after that trigger, that fear trigger that you have in you now, that I have in me, and what would happen? Just visualize what life would be like. Dream, right? And 99.9% out of 100, it would be much better with that. And
the laptop is here. Dad told me the laptop is here. He's right there.
Okay, shh, you can have it after when I'm done. She got a new laptop. And she's really excited. But anyways,
yes.
Yeah, going after all those things, if it means that it will enhance your life.
Today. Knew it.
And that's why I said that most of the time it doesn't hand select because it is something new. And most importantly, once we face that trigger, that fear trigger, and we overcome it, what does that do? That builds confidence. How do we become unlimited and unstoppable? By having lots of confidence. Now there's, different kind of confidences, right? I would like to be humbly confident.
That's been coming up a lot, humbleness.
I like that word.
I'm gonna send you a song, because the
Mom, can you open the box? And I want to see the laptop. I can? Can I open the box?
What is that gonna do, sweetie? Because we can't really set it up.
I just want to see it. You don't have to set it up. I just want to see it.
Okay, very gently. And do it right here.
Okay.
She's been doing a lot of crafts on her
Let
own.
me see the
So
laptop.
she'll go upstairs because we have like craft boxes, and she wanted to make soap this weekend. So I said, okay, you want to do it? You're gonna do it by yourself because we're watching a movie as a family, and you want to go do that? Okay, go do that while you're watching a movie. Do it by yourself, and clean up after yourself. So that's what she did. And of course, as they're learning to clean up with themselves, we still need to help. So I helped a little bit, but
I want to see the laptop so bad.
Bahiti, anyways, you were talking about a song.
Oh, the synchronicity of humbleness is just
Ethan's so noisy.
it is not surprising me that it's come up for you, and I want to share the song with you because again, like as I was mentioning before about my clairaudience.
Stop, Ethan. Tell Ethan to
Guys, oh my God, like,
Ethan, please. No, you won't.
because
Ethan, I don't want to open it.
this is like
No.
childhood.
No.
You remember doing this with your siblings and involving your parents? Mom, don't pick a side. Don't stand up for me. Fight for me.
Oh, stop.
Hey,
You just me. I'm trying to. Can I say something? No, you push me back.
okay, Ethan, you can have this box.
I'm greedy. No, yes,
Ethan gets the box to sit down because he likes to sit in boxes.
my head hurts so bad.
Yes, it's lovely, and this was the beauty of my husband being home as well. I could go hide upstairs, and they would be doing their own thing, and he would watch. But now that he's at work, you're gonna see the real Kasperczak family.
What I'm saying, like why it takes a tribe, because on the tribe, how I've envisioned it, I've seen the children like learning, playing, doing it, whatever. The moms can be in the yoga studio doing yoga and like whatever moms need to connect to spirit and with themselves, and it's just the resources are allocated in a way that's regenerative and beneficial for all. Everyone's nourished.
Yeah, and everybody gets to do what they want, and they get encouragement for doing what they want. For dreams, because if we always were encouraged from young child to adult, if someone didn't create this belief that children should not be heard or seen, or only seen, not heard, then everything would be much different. If we were always seeing our children as equals, like it was in the tribes, that they're more than capable of following their path.
That starts now. It starts like, that's what I'm seeing. That this starts now. The new earth, like it starts with us. We're this is training to be the elders of new earth. Like it starts now. Like we're doing it.
Yeah, we're already all doing it.
I see, like it's unfolding. I can see it so clearly.
Yeah, it's nice over there.
This is where I stay all day long. If something pulls me out of it back into the contracted frequencies, I pop in my headphones. I'm like, we're gonna stay here.
She feels cold with her ice pack.
No, because
What
my head is
happened?
pounding.
Why?
I don't know.
You probably got very excited because I saw how excited you were and jumping.
My head was hurry up, sir.
Okay. You can go get a cloth, get it wet. I'm gonna be done in a couple of minutes. I'll take care of you. Yeah, that's also getting what they want, even now, right? But yeah, very interesting topic today. I think we mostly talked about childhood and parenting. You kind of froze there for a minute. I think we mostly talked about childhood and parenting today.
We talked about a lot. We talked about conspiracy theories, how we deal with the like flood of videos people send us,
Yeah.
and why. See, I don't think that people realize when they send us videos, they're not the only ones sending them, you know. And like Facebook has become very overwhelming for me.
Mhm.
Don't spend much time on there anymore because of the number of messages that pop through um, and I
Sign that you're doing something right.
what's that?
Usually that's a sign that you're doing something right, right? Especially if, as an entrepreneur, you're trying to grow your business. That is one platform of your business. So the more messages you get, the more noticed you are.
Yeah, and I'm just learning how to discern between like when it yeah.
When it's time for a break, because we all need a detox once in a while. Whatever it is anyone is doing, even an athlete takes time off, has a detox of the regular routine, so that way they can kind of miss it and then want to go back. That's why there's vacation at work, because when you're on vacation, what do? You do miss work. You think about work.
And we're nature, so we're cyclical beings. Like we have our own spring, summer, fall, winter. So if I'm feeling like I need to put the communication on freeze because Zoom calls like this fill me up, and the Coven call and
Yeah, that's why I stopped.
wait, what?
That's why I stopped, I guess. Same thing, because all of this is like filling me up.
Yeah, like I like Zoom. Like I am a Zoom fan of these sessions. Like we connect so intimately, and then I'll go onto Facebook for a few, um and the energy's so different that I'm just like learning to discern like, okay, this how do I treat Facebook like a tool now, because the connections on Zoom are just like so fueling and regenerative, and I go out about my day like the most active, like engaged, energetically engaged, and you know my energetic presentation is at the maximum resonating frequency. So I'm just recognizing that it's okay. It's okay. I don't have an exaggerated sense of responsibility to respond to everything on Facebook, and it's okay if I let some things slip through the cracks, and that's essentially what's happening with my relationship with Facebook. It felt like I was letting a lot slip through the cracks, and like I was neglecting it. And then just like being on Zooms, it's just like, well, you know what, it's all right. Even if I am neglecting something that I set out to do, using Facebook as a platform, it's all right, because right now what's needed is this kind of intimate connection when we can't see each other in person.
Got you to think.
Everyone gets to see the, what is it? Like those videos where you open a box and you get to see what's inside and you're all excited.
The laptop?
Yeah, because
Wow.
before.
No, all right, nice. That thing's huge. It's bigger than you.
It's as big as my laptop, so mine is the same size.
I feel mine's a bit big.
Don't leave the sticker on for now. Don't take it off.
I think mine's a bit big.
Okay, just go sit down. Let me finish today. Yes, but I'll have another call after.
Okay, please sign off.
Mila, wait.
After. Yeah, after.
If I have time, yes. Huh?
At least her headache's gone.
Right. Sneaky. Like Bruce says that eventually, if let's say a kid wants to stay home and they have a headache or they're sick and they're faking it, right? What happens is once they're checked, they're like, "Oh, you're fine, you're good, go to school." Eventually, they develop physical symptoms, right? So by developing the physical symptoms, then they create an actual illness just so they can stay home, which basically says just how powerful your mind is. That if you want to have something, you believe in it, just like you did when you wanted that cold because a test was coming up, an exam was coming up, and you did not want to do it, so you got sick on purpose because you used this thinker box. Why did you do it then? You believed it with your whole self, and you did it. So how can you apply that knowledge into your life now?
Mm-hmm. And I think that was included in Law of Being and Being Health, the way what we can learn from illness and the way we sometimes invent illness.
Yeah,
I did because like even as an adult, I would invent anxiety for myself so that I could get more lorazepam. Like I'd be like I need, so that like I think that pill dependency and wanting attention for the anxiety just from even seeing a doctor about it and talking with the doctor about it, getting that validation that like it is, my anxiety is like that important to pay attention to, that I get this prescription for it.
Yeah, but then you got to learn to do it on your own without the prescription,
which has been the best, like
training. Yeah,
freedom. Like that's been the ultimate freedom. And so now to go from like the anxiety that I remember having in like 2012 to what I experience very little anxiety now, like very little.
Oh yeah, me too. But it was a journey. I would call it an awakening journey because you had to wake up to the realities of everything. At least I did. I started waking up to the realities of things, of everything, the way things used to be and why they used to be a certain way, right? Why as a child, I would always go back to my childhood. How do I want to feel in the future? The same way I did as a child, because I ran wild, I ran free, I did what I wanted. And of course I went to school, but a lot of the things that I remember are only about me doing fun things. Everything else is a total blur. Everything else is a total blur. I just remember a lot of the fun things I was doing as a child.
Yeah. I remember anything that I felt deeply.
That too. Even when I would find turtles at the edge of the river, like baby turtles, and I'm like, oh my God, turtles! I picked them all up that I possibly could, and I brought them home, and I kept them as my pets. And I'm like, thinking back, I'm like, they didn't belong in my house. They belonged in the wild. Right? They were only home for maybe like 2-3 days because turtles, they're smelly. So if I didn't clean it, it would smell, but you had to clean it every single day.
we learned that lesson too, that they're smelly.
So I maybe had them for like maybe 3, maybe 4 days, and then I released them back where I found them after they've been fed. I don't remember what I was feeding them. My mom was kind of like telling me.
We fed ours worms. They're
Yeah,
snap turtles, and they're like snap a worm in half, and we'd sit there watching, amazed, and it got so smelly.
yeah, I think these were eating lettuce. Yeah. I mean, I've
My cat is
always like I remember I would be in Russia running around.
Oh, I used to have one of those.
So like here in Canada, we have storage units where you can go and you can buy or rent a storage unit. Okay, Mila, shh, go talk somewhere else, please. When we would go here to a storage unit, and have our stuff in there. Back in Russia, what I realized, places that were called the garage, they were just like the storage units where you go and you would store things in there, and some of them were finished and some of them were not finished. Some of them just had the edge of it, right? What I would do, and there was like, I don't know, maybe like 100 this way and 100 this way, what I would do is that I would run across the roofs of all of them. And the ones that just had the bricks, like this wide enough brick of the ledge, I would run across those as well. I would run across all of them. I was like picturing myself in like a video game as I'm like running. That was being in the moment, but remembering those type of memories and thinking like, okay, well, how do I create that now? How do I create that memory? Is because I had so much fun with it doing it. I remember there was like a pile of sand, and I would run and jump into that sand. And eventually my knees started hurting, so I stopped jumping.
That's like, you're describing the infinite now, like that like moment, and that also feels like lucid dreaming to me.
Yeah. I did a lot of that when I was little. I knew, and I realized that I don't even know how I did it, but I was controlling my dreams. I did what I wanted in my dreams. Even the giants that were chasing me, I wanted them to disappear. I would turn around and they would disappear. Whereas in dreams now, not necessarily. I had a white Pegasus unicorn that would come to my window, and I would fly with it at night. Right, like there's many things, but the biggest one that I could call on the horse on my unicorn, I don't remember her name, like this, and I would fly on her. I used to fly in my dreams myself all the time until I stopped believing, and then I couldn't fly anymore. It's like Peter Pan says, you gotta believe. With a little bit of fairy dust, you can fly. You gotta believe.
Oh, who knew it was that? That wisdom was so deep. It's true.
But flying.
Wow, she's an OG.
I think I was about 15 when I stopped flying. My dreams. That's when everything kind of started going, spiraling down. But I remember flying a lot of my dreams when I was in Russia, and then I was 13 when we came here to Canada, and going through all of those experiences, I wasn't flying as much anymore. It was like a rare occasion when I would fly, but before that, I would fly in every single dream. I could outfly anyone or anything. Could even like have like bird wings, and I would flap away like this. It always kind of very often kind of like simulated swimming, because it wasn't my feet were also going like this, because otherwise they would kind of like hang there and I would just fly like this, right? This was lifting up and flying would mean like kind of like swimming. Yeah, weird. I love weird dreams.
Me too. Mine have been so weird lately. So informative. Dreams are so informative.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I had a dream that there was a bird singing outside. This is in real life. In real life, there was a bird singing outside my window, and so it was weaving its way into my dream, and music that the bird was creating was energy that was flowing into my body and through my body, and the energy was like a rainbow. Showing up as like rainbow colors and shit. And there was something about that that felt very shamanic to me, just the energy and everything. And then when I thought about it for a little while, I was like, this is like the kind of imagery I see when I am tripping on Wim Hof breathing, just like the energy flowing in everything. So like that song that the bird was creating, like my dream was showing me what it was actually like doing to me on like a spiritual level.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what I can't see in the physical world, it showed me, which is like that moment just before waking up. It was just so cool.
Mm-hmm. And that stuff can stay with you for years.
Mm-hmm. Like the imagery that it provided, just like a bird singing and it going like body and these rainbow, like a rainbow going through my body. I was like, thanks, bird. That's pretty dope.
You're just missing a unicorn. The white Pegasus unicorn.
That's coming next.
Yeah.
Unicorn riding the rainbow.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the time. I gotta be getting ready. I'm gonna try to set up her laptop before I go on my next call, and hopefully I can set it up. So that's gonna be interesting. She's already excited. It's supposed to come tomorrow. So she's like, I knew it was gonna come today because she kept saying it's gonna come on Thursday. It's gonna come on Thursday.
I heard her say that. She's so
happy to bring that up because she mentioned it. She's like, I knew it. I told you guys it was gonna come on Thursday. Look, you a little psychic.
yeah.
So it came, and because I told her like if it's Thursday, I might not be able to help you to set it up, but we'll try.
Two powerful women of the tribe. You're gonna set this up.
Oh yeah, I set my laptop up myself. I set her laptop up myself. I can do these things.
Oh, I know you can.
At the end of the day, we are our own sovereign beings. So we don't need anyone to complete us because we are already complete. We don't need to have anyone that will force us to be better because we are already intuitively going after our better self, right? We just need someone there, right? Once in a while to have a conversation, but let us be who we want to be. Let go of control.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do because you get somebody else's child, an adult child who has a lot of their own things, right? And you are your own adult child. So two adult children get together and they're not gonna like everything about each other. But if you just don't even think about it, don't even focus on that shift and the other things that you do like, that's when it becomes more fun. And if something comes up, because once in a while something might come up, you're like, oh, I hate this about you, or you do this and it pisses me off. Think, okay, well, instead of that, what do I love about you? Because I don't want to focus on this. I want to know more of like the pros side. Forget about the con side, right? Focus on the pros side, list all the pros about this person because I can guarantee you there are many if you just take the time to sit down and write them down.
And for the cons list, something that's been really helping me is just is treating everyone with the same patience and presence that I treat my 5-year-old niece with. Like if she wants to sit with me and show me something or tell me a story, or she wants me to be proud of her about something, I'll give her all my undivided attention in the world. And I realize I don't do that with the adults in my family. And so because it comes across totally different, it's not as clear that they're looking for approval or like encouragement, because they're adults and adults can't be vulnerable enough to need encouragement. But I can see straight through to it, like when I apply that, or like even something like adults are struggle with being vulnerable enough to learn from each other. And so it's hard to ask for help. And I realized if I can bring that softness and gentleness with which I teach my niece something new, or like I can bring that to my interactions with adults, and they can let their guard down a bit and ask for help. And their like adult frustration used to agitate me and throw me off my kind, compassionate center. And like for example, an adult trying to figure something out on a phone and being like, "Fuck this," and like getting frustrated and swearing, I'd want to be hands off.
Yeah.
And but now, if I just see like my 5-year-old niece trying to learn something on the phone, I'll bring that gentle, compassionate nature to spread that dense energy out. Because the kid trying to learn is coming at it from curiosity, so the energy is already available and fluid. An adult coming at trying to learn something new is coming from a very different place, like a place of fear, not wanting to be vulnerable, fixated. So
all of that is also learned. They learned through observation by watching their tribe, their elders, which is their parents. They learn all of these things by watching their parents. So and I mean, I can tell you stories with my children. I would try to put my shoes on and they wouldn't go on, and I would say, "Pop, pop, pop, pop."
Yeah.
My daughter, when she was like 3 years old, her shoe was not going on. Guess what she said? And I was like, "Oh my God, where did you learn that?" My husband, "Who do you think you learned that from?"
Exactly.
Like,
It's like we can tell people what to do all day. We can tell kids what to do all day, but if they don't see us practicing what we're preaching, they're not gonna listen to us.
learn from seeing,
Yep.
watching. We're learned from watching things to this day, from watching things, not from being told what to do, but from being asked what you want to do. We learn from that and remember those things. But when we are being told what to do, I don't remember very many moments like that because I just tuned out. I was not present. My body was there. My soul said, "Fuck this, I'm pulling the chute, I'm out."
Yeah.
So little, but yet it doesn't take very little because the soul is very gentle. And that's why we find ourselves, we lose a little piece of ourselves over these like normal things. And it seems so little, and yet they're not that little, because if they were, they wouldn't have such a big effect on us, and our soul would be intact.
That's why they're quantum shifts. Yeah, every new timeline is just a quantum shift away.
Yeah. And Dr. Shafala today, the one I was listening to, she was saying how the children are in the now, and we snap them out. We get them to focus on the future and all these things. But to them, the only thing that exists is the now, because future does not exist.
Yep.
It's not, because when you get there, it's called the present.
Yep.
Right? So you never get to your future, because you always get into the present. You're in the present moment. The past does not exist because it has already existed, so it cannot exist again.
It's a series of nows.
Yeah. So everything, and that's why this Yana and this Rachel will forever be one of a kind, like we talked about in the previous video. We can never be the same again, ever. This moment can never be the same again. That's it. Just like my husband said, him staying home with us, the 4 weeks that he was home, he will never experience that ever in his entire life. And that even if he retires, when he retires, it's not going to be the same, because everyone will be already a little bit different.
Like how you can't step in the same river twice.
Yeah.
The water's moving.
Yeah. And the same thing. In other words, don't punish yourself for your past self. If you were too lazy to do something yesterday, because I know I was, because just, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So I didn't do it because I didn't want to, because I was not in alignment. Because if I was in alignment, I would want to do it, and there would be no hesitation. There would be no ifs or buts about it. So certain things shouldn't be forced. But then again, why should I punish myself today and lose my energy today for something that happened yesterday, and not to me, but to the old version of me?
That's what depression is. This is a huge topic. I would love to talk about the topic of not punishing our former selves.
Yeah.
And
Depression, and that's exactly what it is. It's constant, and this is where I remember I made a post, a comment that, or like a quote that Dr. Dispenza said, and it was that depression is just a chronic lack of gratitude. And so many people got upset at it. And honestly, it still bothers me to this day that so many people got upset at it, because it was just a quote. It wasn't said by me, but I know I shared it, so I take responsibility for it, right? But it was meant to be a positive quote, right? And people turned it around and said that they are grateful, and yet they're depressed, because Dr. Dispenza said that you can't be both at the same time.
I mean,
all at the same time.
It's so in that moment, if you're experiencing gratitude in the moment, yeah, you can't be depressed. But I think where it gets confusing for people is that they don't understand how they can hold space for the gratitude that they have for what they have, while also experiencing depression on a consistent basis. But like in that moment when you are experiencing gratitude, all you're experiencing is gratitude because you're in the moment.
Yeah.
You're so I think both can happen.
Same time, right? Because you can experience that gratitude for a split moment, and then it's gone, and then depression is back. Some people might get confused that those two can exist, because gratitude comes for a split second, but what you don't realize is that you, in that second, in that moment, you're not depressed. So they're not existing at the same time. They are separate, right? And if you continue to focus on the gratitude part just a little bit more, stretch that time out a little bit more, guess what's going to happen? Eventually, that time is going to be stretched out to a point where the depression will no longer exist, because this will take up this space.
It's really, again, like going back to what we were saying once about neural pathways and building new neural pathways. If our pathway if our norm is beating ourselves up about the past, wanting to change the past, thoughts of like, why did I say that? Why didn't I say this instead? Why couldn't I have done this instead? If those were our neural pathways are sending us, then of course we're going to experience depression.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, and it's worthy work to build a new neural pathway where we are rewiring toward gratitude.
Yeah.
Arrive in the now, because the now is the only medicine for depression over those types of thoughts, because we can't change the past. Yeah. As much as the mind wants to replay it, we cannot change it. Yeah. We can choose how to show up in the now. And this is why this is a topic, like I would love a whole other Zoom session with you to dive deep, because I think this is returning people to the now. Like depression lives in wanting to change the past or wishing things could have been different, whereas anxiety lives in worrying about the future, trying to prepare for the future, and playing all the scenarios where something could go wrong. That's where anxiety lives. If we could bring ourselves back to the now, like looking out the window and experiencing gratitude that I have a view of a willow tree. Mm-hmm. That puts me in the now. Like I'm looking at you, I'm looking at a willow tree. Amazing experience of the now. Like, you know, there's nothing else I need to be doing, nothing else on my mind. Then this is a great way to spend my time in this moment.
Yeah. And it takes practice. It takes sometimes years of practice to get to this point, especially if one has gone through depression.
Mhm.
I was going through massive, and I was on medication, and it actually made it worse, I
Mhm.
find. So it did more damage than good. So I was taking them for a year, then I stopped. And then after about a year afterwards, I was put on them again, right? And I've taken them at that point for maybe like 3 weeks, and I realized, no, I don't want to feel this way because it does not feel like me. It's almost like, again, the soul is escaping,
Yep.
abandoning ship little by little. And it took a lot to get out of there. But I wasn't doing it alone because it's very difficult to do it alone. I found people around me that I could talk to, and that I can communicate with, that I can have a conversation with, and it wasn't therapists because for me that did not work. I found it made it worse. And I honestly, and then I discovered network marketing. And that introduced me to the online world that I didn't even know existed. So by being introduced to this new world of the online world, it shifted everything. Like most of my friends and most of the people that I talk to, they don't live near me. They live hours away from me. Some live across the continent. So they scheduling sometimes can be a little difficult, right? Because of the hours. But that's what the internet allows us. And now, even more than ever, we have the time to communicate and meet people all around the world. If you are curious about a country, start a conversation with someone who lives there. Make a friend.
We have soul family all over the world.
Yes.
All over the world. We're getting to the point now where we're gonna use this time to develop relationships, intimate connections with soul family all over the world. That when we can travel again, we're gonna have places to stay. We're gonna have home. We're gonna be having ceremony with people in Bali, and like visiting people in India. Like we're gonna connect at such an amazing level. Like instead of the impersonal style of travel of luxury vacations and like staying in hotels, like we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna be staying with our homies, learning about their cultures.
And in tribes, not even like in luxury, but sleeping in tents on dirt. Why not try that?
Mm-hmm.
Go like get go and be a kid. Get down and get dirty. When did we become such a clean species?
Because
Yes, because
we did.
humans introduced other things into our lives that started affecting us. So, product over health.
I'm almost done. I'm super excited. And I have
Whatever. The boss has spoken.
Thank you of
I'm next.
popping
I
off.
said sure.
Yeah, give me a minute.
You said that before.
So the other thing I thought of as we were having a conversation, plug it in first. As we were having a conversation is ending these type of videos, because after a long video as a masterclass, right, a webinar.
Is this it?
Technically, this is a webinar. Technically, this is a podcast. Technically, this is a masterclass. So after each masterclass, what have I been seeing people do is offer something, right? Give people something to do, and not just the homework, but give them a different type of homework once in a while, which is how can they become part of what we're doing? How perhaps they might want to become our clients if that's what they're interested in, right? They want to be coached by one or the other, reach out, right, through the social media. So we should take the time one of these times to come up with something.
Yeah.
End it that way, and then when we know that it ends, that's when it's like, okay, perfect, this is a perfect goodbye. Goodbye, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good idea.
But yeah, you and I will work this out on the next Zoom, and it'll give us some focus.
Yeah,
To it.
perfect.
Good luck with the computer. What an exciting day. in the tribe. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for a wonderful. I was drinking my cacao the whole time, so thank you for a wonderful cacao ceremony.
You're welcome.
Traveling, interdimensional traveling.
Yeah.
So much fun.
At some points, I'm like, I'm done speaking. I'm like, what did I just say?
Yeah, like blackout.
I haven't seen you once in a while, and I'm like, I think I should look back and see what I said because it sounded so awesome. And I mean, and this is where you gotta learn to cheer for yourself and say that I think I did awesome at some points. Not maybe the entire thing, but once in a while, I think I was good. Yeah. So anyway,
consciousness flowing, like that's where the genius comes.
yeah, exactly. Just stop blocking it. Let it flow.
There are a couple of things I'm gonna send you, and I can also include them in the link when you post it on your Facebook page. One is the song that I use to keep me humble.
Yeah.
And another is a poem about children and childhood. So my notes, gonna write it down, gonna send them to you, and then we can see how the Facebook vibe with them.
Awesome. I'd love that.
All right.
Okay. Peace out.
All right. Much love, everyone. Much love, Yana. Thank you so much.
Bye.
As always. Bye.